Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to cover a topic that I haven't seen anywhere else on YouTube. That is how to consistently outplay your opponent. The reason you don't really see it anywhere is because it's honestly a pretty hard topic to give concrete tips and tricks about. Most people, when they think about outplaying someone, just think of some crazy edit play that they pulled off or some 200 IQ grenade that they banked off a tree. There's just so many different ways to outplay your opponent, which is why Fortnite is so amazing and unique. The bad part about that though is that it means I can't really cover every single way to outplay your opponent, because a video on that would be like 50 hours long and it would be impossible to cover everything. What I can do though is to help you guys learn ways to identify situations where you can outplay your opponent and ways to catch them off guard and come out on top. The format of this video will be kind of similar to my Game Sense 101 series, where I'm going to show you a bunch of clips from the best players in the world, then we're going to dissect them and learn from them. As per usual, I'll put some timestamps on the screen now to highlight each tip I go over, but I think this is one of the more important videos where you should definitely watch through completely. The first clip is from Liquid Vivid, who isn't actually outplaying his opponent here, but is the one who gets outplayed. We see Vivid in the middle of a build fight, and if we listen closely, we hear the Rift to Go sound going off, which Vivid responds to by building out to get some quick shots off. Instead, his opponent comes out from the turtle he was hiding in because he had faked the Rift to Go he had. Vivid is obviously confused and builds back up for height and gets a nice pump off after a quick edit. He shoots his opponent's build down, who chunks Vivid to 30 health, and then his opponent cleans Vivid up with a nice jump shot. The outplay here is pretty obvious. His opponent fakes using a Rift to Go, so Vivid, who thinks his opponent is going to be coming out of the sky, loses awareness of where he actually is, and because he's too focused on getting ready to take shots, he doesn't realize that his opponent's actually behind him. There's probably a decent amount of you guys who haven't seen this trick, but it isn't really a new one. It was first discovered in I think September of last year, when people realized you could use the Rift to Go but then cancel it by changing weapons at the last minute. For some reason, the initial sound of shaking the Rift goes off, but then nothing else happens. You can try this out yourself in creative, and it's actually really easy to do in practice. You just have to press the Rift to Go and then at the last second change your weapon, and we could hear that the sound clearly goes off. What we want to take away and learn from this is that the first thing you need to be doing is thinking ahead. I have an entire Game Sense 101 episode on the topic of thinking ahead, but if you ever want to outplay your opponent, you need to be one step ahead of them. Vivid's opponent knew Vivid would look up and think he was rifting because he heard the Rift to Go sound go off. You need to put yourself in your opponent's shoes and think, if I heard this certain noise or if I saw an enemy doing something in particular, how would I react? Another example would be opening a door. Even a default skin with 0 wins and a 0.2 KD knows the sound of a door opening, and if they hear it, they know exactly where to look. If you were looking to outplay them, you need to think about ways to get an unexpected angle on them, knowing that they will be looking at whatever door you decide to open. The most classic example is just randomly shooting to bait people out who think that you're fighting someone else. Anytime you shoot your gun, a sweaty TTV soccer skin like myself will come out of nowhere like a blood-hungry shark, so you gotta use what you know to your advantage. The possibilities in Fortnite are endless, and this tip can be applied to pretty much any situation you find yourself in, but just remember, you need to predict what your opponent will do and then use what you think they will do to your advantage. The second clip we'll look at is an old clip from 72 Hours. This is from December 2018, back when Tom had no beard, but we see him land, and right as the enemy is about to take the shotgun, he ends up coning it and gets the gun and secures the kill. Again, the outplay here was easy to see and understand. He's behind his opponent, who will pick up the gun before he does, so he blocks it off with his own build, making it impossible for the opponent to get under it unless he pickaxes it. Tom then pressures his opponent off the cone by pickaxing him and then gets the gun. I unfortunately can't teach you how to better your reaction time, as most of that is innate and can't really be taught, and I also can't teach you how to be as alpha and as handsome as Tom, but this clip shows us that you need to be thinking of how you're going to kill your opponent, or in this case secure the gun, and at the same time thinking about what you have available to you to do it. Tom's end goal here is simple. He needs the gun, and because his opponent is closer to it and he has no sort of mobility or anything that can get him closer to the gun, the only thing he can do is just block off the gun with a build. Tom knows that he just broke the brick wall to get inside the house, so he has the perfect amount of mats for one build. He could have walled it off or even ramped it off, and it would have accomplished the same goal. He chose the cone either because it was the easiest build bind to hit, or in his head he decided he would cover it with a cone. You need to always be aware of what you have available to you, in this case only 10 mats, and what you can do with what you have. If you're trying to get a nice outplay on someone who's sitting on high ground, you need to be thinking of every possible way you can do it. You could either double ramp up behind them, or maybe fake a double ramp in front of them, or maybe shoot them with a heavy sniper, or even jump pad up. No matter what you decide to do though, you need to make sure that you have the right amount of mats or weapon or utility in your inventory to do so. Learn everything you can about each item, weapon, or mechanic in the game and how you can use them to outplay opponents in different ways. This way, when you have them available to you, you'll know exactly what you're capable of doing. For the next clip, we see MrSavageM turtling in front of an opponent, then expanding out. He sees his opponent has made his way into the other box, so he beautifully double edits to secure the kill. The clip then goes on as Savage tries to find another opponent who's running around inside his builds. He then gets jumped on because the audio in Fortnite is pretty butt cheeks right now. He turtles up again and then drops his opponent in as he tries to break through the top. Savage gets a clean shot off and then ramps over the enemy. He then comes out the top, throws a stink, and then kills his opponent with his pump. If you guys don't watch MrSavageM already, he's in my opinion the smartest Fortnite player in the world, and the funny part is he's like 14. What we can learn from this insane clip is that you need to master mechanics before you can learn to consistently outplay people. Savage isn't thinking about what he's doing, he's thinking about what he will be doing. His mechanics are so good that he doesn't have to worry about messing up an edit. All he's thinking about is what he will be doing after he edits. I'm not saying that you need to be faster at building and editing than Mongrel, but if you're struggling with simple edits and builds, you won't be able to consistently outplay your opponents. The first kill Savage gets is only possible because of how clean and quick the edits are. His opponent sees Savage coming over, but he does not expect the wall and ramp to be edited so damn fast that he's just left standing there with nowhere to go. The second kill is also only possible due to how polished Savage's mechanics are. He drops down the opponent and then gets a nice shot off while building the ramp over him so the guy can't shoot back at him. Then he throws a stink to distract the enemy and have the guy try to break out the other way, all while Savage comes out the other side and edits a window for the kill. You need to always be perfecting and improving upon your mechanics if you expect to start making crazy plays like you see your favorite streamers and players make. So make sure you're constantly practicing your editing, aiming, and building. Second to last clip is from the ESL Fortnite event. It's the final moving circle and we see Zayt on top of two enemies. One builds up so he decides to use his rift to go. Because his enemies are so close to him, they're also taken with the rift. As the storm keeps moving and getting smaller, Zayt's partner just heals in the zone while Zayt glides down and secures the 2 kills, all while taking zone damage. If you didn't know, rift to goes can take other people with you if they're a level above or below you. What we want to take away from this though is that this was in a pro tournament with the best players in the world. This was the hardest competition to date with only the top performers, so how are even the best players still getting outplayed like they did here by Zayt and Saf? You need to catch your opponents by surprise and to do something completely different than what they expect. Zayt's opponents didn't expect him to have a rift to go, and they definitely didn't expect him to actually use it and bring them in with him. Why? Because who in their right mind would purposely tank Storm? For all Zayt knew, they were both 100 health and could outlive him. But Zayt knew that his teammate Saf was healing in zone, and he knew that he could land quickly enough where he could get his shots off to them, where they could get low enough to die to zone, or kill them himself. Cutie said it best: if you don't know what you're doing, how are your enemies supposed to know what you're doing? The last clip we'll watch is again from MrSavageM. Savage is on the other side of the turtle now, trying to break and replace his enemy's wall. He sees his opponent edit his cone and goes up into the box above him. Without even thinking, Savage banks a grenade off the 2 walls above him, re-edits the edited floor, and then waits. The grenade explodes and his opponent falls down directly into his crosshairs for an easy kill. If you don't believe me now when I said that this kid is ridiculous, come on now, this is insane. My final tip and takeaway which we saw from this clip is that you just have to go for it. You'll never outplay someone if you're too scared to try new tactics and to take new risks. Savage thought ahead and knew he could knock his opponent down with a grenade if it was right under the ramp, so he went for it. His opponent could have easily built out when he heard the grenade or turbo built as he fell. There was a lot that could have gone wrong for MrSavage to deny him the kill, but he wasn't thinking about that. What MrSavageM was thinking about was that he just needed to get the kill and how he should do it. If it doesn't work out, he's down 1 rocket, but so what? If you saw a streamer do a crazy building trick, practice that in creative and then try it out in game. You'll never be able to consistently outplay opponents unless you consistently go for the outplay and stop playing safe. So to sum it up, the first thing you should be doing is thinking ahead and predicting what your opponent will do. Second, see what you have available to yourself and know what each item or weapon or the amount of mats you have is capable of. Third, make sure you perfect your mechanics and that they're second nature so you can focus on what you'll be doing rather than what you're currently doing. Fourth, be unpredictable and catch your opponents off guard with something that they won't expect. Lastly, you just gotta go for it. You'll never outplay someone playing safe and scared. So just do it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. I just started streaming on Twitch over the weekend, and the streams have been pretty lit, so make sure to stop by as I'll be streaming every Saturday and Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This video shoutouts go to David Lemke, Oriel Puig, Redaxi, Amastack, Adam, Tommy, Luck, Monkey, Kusimwat, WGMI Brian, and Ryan. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.